This audio presentation of Victory Over Fear and Worry by Dr. Robert A. Russell is brought to you by AudioEnlightenment.com, copyright 2015, all rights reserved. Introduction. This book is only so much paper, cardboard, and ink until you make it a guide to freedom, power, peace, and happiness by your understanding and by your use of the principles in it. It will accomplish its purpose and come alive in you only as you embody in your consciousness the eternal truth that it contains and as you put them to work. If you read the book just for the sake of entertainment, you will be disappointed. But if you read it for the purpose of eliminating fear and worry from your life, you will become free from them. You will find the courage and faith that you seek. What are the rules and principles essential to the mastery of fear and worry? 1. The first one is resolution. You must not only read with the hope of finding an escape from the restrictive influence of fear and worry, but you must also have an all-consuming determination to learn the way out of your dilemma. This book contains everything necessary for your release from the thraldom of fear and worry. Determine that you will make this freedom yours. Make your study the paramount thing in your life while you are making your demonstration. Say each day as you take up your study, I know that the activity of these ideas penetrates any doubt or apprehension in my mind, casts out my fear, removes my uncertainties, clears away all hindrances, and permits that which is strong, courageous, and true to be realized. I have absolute faith that the suggestions I accepted will be manifest in my life, turning my fears into faith and my bondage into freedom. Number 2. The second requirement is assimilation. You should never leave a statement or a suggestion in the book until you have thoroughly digested and assimilated it. You must synthesize the corrective and positive suggestions with the creative power of your subconscious mind. Fear is an emotion. To overcome it, you must introduce a new idea that is stronger than the idea which caused the fear and the resultant worry. The change is a matter of displacement and substitution. The antidote for fear and worry is faith. When faith comes in, fear and worry go out. You probably have your own method of studying a metaphysical book. If you haven't, let me suggest that you first read the book as a whole, and then read it again slowly and thoughtfully, stopping frequently to contemplate the suggestion and to figure out just where and how you can apply each suggestion to your life and needs. 3. The third requirement is the embodiment of suggestion. When you find a statement that strikes you forcibly, underscore it or write it in your notebook. This activity will help to make your study and practice more successful by helping to embody the suggestion in your subconscious mind. It will also help you to get to the vital spots in the book with a minimum of delay. There is no shortcut to the elimination of fear and worry. The truth must become a part of the wrap and woof of your consciousness. 4. The fourth requirement is translation into action. Be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Bernard Shaw was right when he said, if you teach a man anything, he will never learn. What did he mean? Most of us learn by doing. Learning is a matter of using what you hear or read. In other words, the suggestion and instructions in the book must go below your neck. They must be set in action through daily practice and application. They must come alive through recognition and realization. We should remember that we are not primarily trying to raise and expand the intellect through our study. We are attempting to form a new habit, a habit that will keep us free as long as we live. 5. The fifth requirement is discipline. There are many aids that one may employ to keep the mind moving toward its goal. One of the most effective is to set up a fear and worry bank. This can be done by keeping a little locked box or child's bank in a conspicuous place in the home, say on the dining room table or on a mantelpiece, and putting a dime or a quarter in the box every time you violate any one of the principles in the book. If you do this every time that you feel fearful or worried or express a negative thought, you will soon cure yourself of this bad habit. The money in the box, of course, should be dedicated to some worthy cause. 6th. The sixth requirement is to inventory your results. Inventory periodically the results of your efforts to apply these principles in order to strengthen your defense. List your improvements and success as well as your mistakes and failures. Determine to make a good record better and a bad one good. Profit by your mistakes. Rejoice in your victories. Keep an accurate record of your experience in applying these rules. List all the interesting and unexpected things that happened to you. This account will make interesting reading in years to come, for it will help you to realize your growth and may inspire you to help others. Chapter 1. The Key. Verse, Thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? And it shall come to pass that the Lord shall give the rest from thy fear. There is no fear in love, but perfect love cast out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee, yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. The thing which I greatly feared is come upon me. By fearing it, I gave it the power to embody itself in my experience. The disease I feared is come upon me. By fearing it, I gave it the power to manifest in my body. The person I feared came upon me. By fearing him, I gave him power over me. The bad luck I feared is come upon me. By fearing it, I gave it power to operate in my life. The failure I feared is come upon me. By fearing it, I gave it power to function in my business. It is a metaphysical law that everything and everybody in the universe reacts to your attitude towards them. Your satisfaction, pleasure, joys, triumphs, and victories are self-created. The problems that baffle you, the fears that harass you, the worries that fret you, the persons that annoy you, and the things that upset you act in accordance with the power you give them in your thought. They cannot act in any other way. Both good and evil are states of mind, and both do to you what you permit them to do. Emerson said, "No man and no institution was ever ridden down or talked down by anything but itself." People may slander and criticize you, but no one can hurt you but yourself. No one can make you afraid. No one can make you unhappy. No one can make you sad but you yourself. In fact, no one can do anything to you that you do not want him to do. Evil cannot have a place in your life that you do not permit it to have. It's up to you to determine just what kind of experiences you're going to have in your world. Nobody else can determine that for you. If you are unhappy, it is because consciously or unconsciously you want to be unhappy. When you are tired of being unhappy, you have the power to change your consciousness and be happy. If you are fearful, it is because you believe in two powers instead of one. When you are tired of being fearful, you can change your attitude toward God and be fearless. The ether is filled with negative and evil suggestions that others have used and discarded, but there is no reason for you to take them in and give them a warm bed, good food, and a comfortable home. It is your privilege to declare your spiritual independence, to adopt a lofty indifference, and to shut the door to them. Indifference. What an important word that is. How fraught with power. To the truth student, it has the same connotation as the word protection. Think what it would mean to isolate yourself mentally from all the evils that interfere with your happiness and peace of mind. Think what it would mean to keep them so far from you that you would never have to handle them. That is exactly the freedom that indifference to evil suggestions will give you. It will not only prevent evil from getting into your life, but it will help to render powerless the evil that already is there. Fear and all kindred evils cannot live without thought and attention. They cannot operate without cooperation and help. Evil is neither person, place, nor thing. It has no power until you give it a body or a belief to act with. It comes to you for life, and you give it all the life it has. It holds you in bondage because of the powers you give it in your thought. Take away this power by indifference and turn the energy of destructive emotions into constructive channels, and it will cease to operate in your life. The key to the subject matter in this book is stated in these words. Life is a state of consciousness. The explanation of all your joys, happiness, and success, as well as all your irritations, fears, failures, and problems lie in this fact. Life is a state of consciousness. Whatever happens to you, whether good or bad, whatever comes to you, whether desirable or undesirable, whatever takes place in your body, in your emotions, in your home, or in your business expresses your consciousness. Experience is the tangible evidence of your collective and habitual state of mind, that is, of your consciousness. The kind of ills you have, the kind of deals you get, the kind of disappointments you meet, the kind of difficulties you face, the kind of people you attract, everything that happens to you is the result of the kind of consciousness you have developed. You always attract conditions and circumstances that are like your consciousness. If the undesirable and disagreeable were not already potential in your consciousness, there would be nothing to attract them. If you had no mental affinity for them, they would be not attracted to you. The source of your trouble is never in persons, incidents, or thinking in the outer world. It is within your consciousness. When you change your consciousness and keep it changed, your experience changes accordingly. If you refuse to accept the suggestion of evil, whether it be sickness, limitation, or trouble, the evil dies or falls by its own weight. Why does it die? Because you refuse to support it with the power of your belief. Without belief it cannot stand. Without your belief it cannot move. The conditions in your experience are simply prototypes of the belief in your consciousness. The saying, like attracts like, means that the effect is always like its cause. If you are a failure in the world, it is because you were first a failure in your consciousness. You were first a mind what you now appear to be. Consciousness and appearance are but two ends of the same thing, cause and effect, seed time and harvest. Ultimately, everything in your life comes back to a state of consciousness. Everything stems from that. Everything returns to it. Everything what it is because of your consciousness. Your consciousness is you. It is your life. It is your experience. It is where you are, and what you have. It will always attract from the world conditions exactly like itself. Would you like to change conditions? Then stop trying to change effects. Stop trying to heal sickness or to improve conditions while your consciousness remains unchanged. The only successful method of demonstrating good is to change your consciousness first. It is the first step in every demonstration. It is the fundamental way to change anything in your life. The universe gives to all men liberally, but it gives according to principle and not according to human wishes. It does not give you what you ask for or what you think you ought to have. It gives you what you are. The law says that you must be the thing you want. You must have a mental equivalent of the thing you desire. You must have it as a belief, Jesus said. What things soever ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. The belief is the mental equivalent. When you have that, the answer is just as certain as the light that responds when you turn the electric switch. No force on earth can keep it from you. There is no such thing as a failure to demonstrate. The truth is that everyone is demonstrating his consciousness at all times, 24 hours a day, everyone in demonstration. That is, he is crystallizing in experience that which he habitually has in his mind. Whatsoever we ask, we receive of him. Many persons think of asking as a worldly petition to God for a special favor. They seem to feel that God responds to them only when they make some special or unusual demand. That is as far from the truth as anything can be. Jesus said, "As thou hast believed, so be it done unto you." It is belief, not words, that brings response. Your real concern in smoothing out the rough places in your life should be with your thought and not with formulas. God responds to you by corresponding to your thought. The law of life says that whatever you identify yourself with, life will create for you. Does it require a great stretch of the imagination to see that in reality you have asked for everything you have, whether it be trouble, sickness, fear, poverty, prosperity, happiness, health, and success? To see that you hadn't asked either consciously or unconsciously for your present experience, you wouldn't have it. Jesus said, "Every man's word shall be his burden. Every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof. And by thy words shalt thou be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned." If you do not believe that your present state depends upon your consciousness, take an inventory of your fears, faith, beliefs, and emotions, and you may be amazed to discover how accurately your outward circumstances match them. Negative conditions did not create themselves. They were fashioned by your thought patterns. They came to you not because you really wanted them, but because you allowed negative images to form in your mind. You were careless in your thinking, and unconsciously you brought negative conditions into your life. But consciously or unconsciously, you alone brought them into being. With God's help, you can and must get rid of them. But how are you going to get rid of the negative conditions? How are you going to change the character of your conscious and unconscious demonstration? There is just one way. Withdraw your attention from all that is negative and substitute positive, constructive thought. Fear is not overcome by saying, "I am not going to be fearful anymore," or "there is nothing to fear." Replace the fear thought with a courage thought by using such statements as these. "I have courage to do what I have to do. I meet each day with renewed courage. I draw upon an unfailing source for courage." In these statements, the undesirable thing is not mentioned. It is simply ignored. The process is substitution and not interdiction. The metaphysical method is the active cultivation of good rather than the restriction of evil. When the new image is introduced, the old image fades away. When you seek to demonstrate the right position or job, you must stop thinking and talking about unemployment. When you seek to demonstrate health, you must stop thinking and talking about sickness. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, Whatsoever things are of good report, think on these things, said St. Paul. By steadily and uninterruptedly thinking the things you want, you automatically unthink the thing you do not want. You put the latter out of your consciousness. When it is out of consciousness, it is out of manifestation. Draining the negative of its power by withdrawing your attention and interest makes it futile in your life. If you want to change conditions, if you want to be more successful, more popular, and more prosperous, if you want better health, greater happiness, more peace, greater understanding of God, you must change your thinking to correspond with your desire. Your image of what is desirable and your habitual thinking must track together. They must be synchronized. There must be nothing in either to contradict the other. Why? Because it is impossible for the mind to believe and disbelieve at the same time. When the subconscious mind has been given a pattern to work out with the conscious mind does not support, the result is confusion and failure. To get good results, you must think and believe the same thing at the same time. The new pattern must not only be held firmly in subconscious mind, but must be given the constructive support of the conscious thinking. You must act as though your desire were already fulfilled. Jesus said even before he called Lazarus from the grave, "Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me." A favorite and much quoted statement of metaphysicians is St. Paul's, "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus." But they do not tell us what this mind or Christ consciousness is. They tell us instead of a human mind, a mortal flesh, a carnal mind, a personal mind, a fleshy mind. But at the same time they remind us that there is only one mind, the mind of God. It is necessary to clarify this matter, for it is the basis of all metaphysical thinking. Actually, there is but one mind and but one consciousness, the divine mind and the Christ consciousness. In the truest sense, there is no human or carnal mind. Whatever is designated as such is merely the lack of recognition of the one mind. This does not mean that we have the choice of two minds in which we think. It means that we must choose one of two patterns, thinking with God or thinking without God. To be conscious of evil is to be unconscious of God. We have the mind of Christ when we think positively or constructively, when we know only one presence and one power in every person, place, and thing. We depart from this mind when we think negatively and destructively, when we designate as the action of the human or carnal mind is nothing but our failure to use the mind of Christ, our failure to think with God. Suppose that you allow yourself to be afraid of someone or something. In other words, you think temporarily with the human mind only. Being conscious of fear, you are, of course, unconscious of God the good. You have left His presence and you are fearful. What is the remedy? How shall you overcome the fear? How shall you forsake the bondage of the human mind? Become conscious of God's presence, and you will be freed from the consciousness of fear. This is not a new method in dealing with evil. It is as old as the New Testament itself. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, the shepherds, and the angel said unto them, Fear not. If you will recall the temptation of Jesus in the wilderness, you will see that in both instances he overcame evil by substituting the good. He was alone, hungry, and tired when the tempter, evil in the form of suggestion, came and suggested that he use his power to make bread out of stone. It was a negative suggestion, and Jesus reversed it at once by saying, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. The second temptation was even more alluring than the first. Seeing that he had failed utterly in his first attempt, the evil one then promised Jesus the whole world if he would serve him. Instantly Jesus replaced the evil with good in these words, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. The failure to climb in metaphysical work often results from the difficulty of changing conscious thoughts. Despite good intentions, some students are unable to change their minds and keep them changed. They do not think deeply or steadfastly enough to change the pattern of the subconscious mind. They try to establish truth in one part of their minds with affirmations and decrees, and then they deny it by an entirely different set of thoughts in another part of the mind. They need to streamline their thinking and conversation by eliminating everything that denies their goal. If they really want the new image to be acted upon by the creative power, they must think in harmony with it. The terms goal, image, pattern, and mental equivalent are used interchangeably. In all the ways acknowledge Him. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and He shall give thee the desire of thy heart. In mental and spiritual work, half measures never produce whole results. A 50% acknowledgement of truth will never make us free any more than a 50% acknowledgement of God's power will make a visible change in our lives. The law said, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. Faith must be unconditional. It must be all or none. If one moment we believe that God is all-powerful, and that he is protecting our loved ones, and the next moment we fear that Mary will get run over, or that Johnny will get the measles, or that we may catch cold, our faith loses its potency. There are no halfway measures in spiritual work. St. James wrote, Let him, man, ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave on the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. Let not that man think that he shall receive anything from the Lord. Anything less than abiding, irrefutable, and unquestioning conviction about the things we are doing will bring disappointment and delay. If we waver and divide our thought when bringing forth a new creation, if our assurance is not beyond the reach of uncertainty and doubt, if the attainment of our goal is still qualified by ifs and buts, we shall fail. Austin Perdue said, Treat your mind like the most up-to-date camera. Give them both good care. If you follow instructions, you are bound to have successful pictures. The inner mind's eye gets the best result through concentration. It is even more exact than the latest Kodak camera, with its rangefinder, self-timer, and light meter. That which you center your mind upon, that which you focus your attention toward, will be marked indelibly within your subconscious self. You will grow in that direction. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If you constantly hold the best images before the camera or outer mind, then the finest picture will result. The outer mind is the focusing instrument. It is the part of your thinking that decides upon your conscious action. The outer mind, if it is undisciplined, wanders away like a stray dog, picking up garbage and bad companions. The fickleness of the outer mind confuses the singleness of purpose and the inner mind. It starts doing what it is told, then one changes his outer mind, and the inner mind's power is switched over to something else. If one's outer mind concentrates on resentment, hatred, disappointment, and fear, one's inner mind will believe that that is the way to look at life. On the other hand, the inner mind is a mysterious entity that seems to do what it is told. It is an impersonal power that does not argue, reason, or debate. Its function is to carry out orders with precision and without complaint. That which you allow your outer mind to think and dwell upon will eventually drop down into the inner mind, and the inner mind will see that it is done. The victory over fear is not won by arguments or denials or by reading, but it is won by cultivating positive thoughts, by nurturing courage, and by maintaining a firm connection with God. It is much more than fixing your attention on a perfect image of yourself. It involves a determined effort on your part to refuse to allow that image to be destroyed. It is a deep realization that God, the good, is the only presence and power in your life. It makes no difference what the particular fear or difficulty facing you may be. It makes no difference whether it concerns yourself, your family, your business, your friends, whether it is conscious or unconscious, whether you are on the battlefield, in a bomber, in a tank, or in a submarine. God is everywhere equally present. He is wherever you are. He is instantly available and instantly responsive. Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. To know this truth is to be protected against all fear. To practice the presence of God is to be courageous and strong in every situation. If God be for us, who can be against us? If we flood our minds with these great truths, we shall effectively turn back every suggestion of evil and every claim of fear. To change your mind against all evil suggestions and to keep it changed is not only the secret of controlling your life, but the secret of great accomplishment.